A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us this evening right here on CAC TV. This is the CBC Dialogue, and my name is Faith Kaulu. Definitely stay with us. I believe it's going to be a very interesting discussion regarding the CBC. And with me tonight is Joyce Mugambe, right next to me, the director of Steph Joy Schools. Thank you so much for setting time apart and being here with us today.
Thank you so much.
Next is Susan Wanjiru, who's the head teacher PC Ongata Rongai Education Center. Karibu as well, and thank you for being here. And at the very far end is Martha Wambui, who is representing all the parents who have kids in the CBC system. Thank you for tonight.
Thank you.
All right, before we get to delve deeper into the CBC and look at what it entails as well and get to answer all those questions probably that will arise from our viewers, I think let's begin with looking at, where we are with CBC. We'll start with you, Joyce. Of course, as the director of a school that is preparing for the CBC system, you'll tell us how that is going. We'll come to you, Susan, as well, to tell us where you are, and then Martha would like to hear, as a parent, how is it going for you? Yeah, let's start with you, Joyce.
Okay, my name is Joyce Mugambi, and I am born again. Christ Jesus is the rock of my salvation. I am grateful for giving me an opportunity of coming to share our experience with CBC. Though in high school they have not yet come, they are coming next year. That is junior secondary school, which is class 7. Let me say that we are prepared to have them, especially as private school. I'm running Steph Joy Girls and Steph Joy Girls in Rironi, Remuru, Kiabu County, and also Steph Joy Boys, Deya, Remuru, Kiabu County. We are very well prepared to receive these junior secondary schools junior secondary school students January next year, 2023. Yes.
So you are eagerly waiting.
We are eagerly waiting.
Right.
We are looking forward to have them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Susan, how is it on your end?
Okay, my name is Susan Wanjiru Jenga. I'm the head teacher PC Ongata Rongai in Kajiado North Sub-County. Actually, when it comes to CBC, I would say that so far so good. When we started in the year 2017, it was not easy. Actually, we all did not think that would have a change. But today, as we look at CBC, we'll say for sure, a lot has been done, and actually the children are ready even to transit to the next level. Like right now, we have grade 6 who are doing grade 3, 4, 5, and 6 who are doing their projects. And come around 29, they will be sitting, the grade 6 will be sitting their written tests. So I must say that CBC so far is doing very well.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. We're glad to hear that. Martha, representing all the parents, of course, speaking from your experience, how has it been?
Oh, I'm Martha Wambui. Thank you very much for this opportunity. As a parent, I'd say so far so good. Because the children, it's like it is bringing bonding between a parent and kids. So far, I would say it's good, although it has the teething issues here and there, but so far it's so good.
All right.
Yeah.
I think let's end it there for now. We'll come back as well now to delve further into the CBC. Of course, to you following us, if you have any questions, drop them on our socials. That is Facebook and CAC TV, Facebook and YouTube rather, at CAC TV Kenya, and we'll be having a look at them as the discussion goes on. Right about now, let's have a look at the 844 system before, and then now we'll have a look at the CBC system, just to lay a foundation in case this whole CBC system is new to you and you do not know what it's all about. So let's lay that foundation right about now and look at the 844 system. So the 844 system was, required 8 years for students to be in the primary school, 4 years in high school, and then 4 years minimum in the university, or this is any tertiary institution. Now that was stipulated under the 844 system. Now looking at the CBC education system is that it requires students to undergo 2 years in pre-primary education, 6 years in primary education, 3 years in junior secondary education, 3 years in senior secondary education, and 3 years minimum in university education. And when we talk about the CBC education system as well, it has been grouped into 4 levels. This is early education, middle school, senior school, and then tertiary education. So just to lay a foundation for you who's following, maybe your child is yet to go to school, or rather you're not a parent yet and you're wondering what is CBC all about. I believe now you have a good foundation to follow up the discussion with us. Definitely interact with us. We're looking forward to hear from you as well. What has been your experience if you're a parent, and any questions you might have. We have educationists on board and a parent as well who will be able to answer any queries from your end. Just let's start with you as the director of Steph School. We've seen the Ministry of Education constructing classes in public primary schools as well as secondary schools that will host the junior secondary school. On your end, how has it been? What preparations have you undertaken? Construction of new classes and new teachers. Tell us about that.
Okay, I must say that with private secondary schools, we do not have such a big challenge because you plan yourself, you make a decision yourself, and therefore, when this this education system came, we all started preparing ourselves.
Okay.
Therefore, this is not the time we are preparing ourselves. We are ready for these children. And at the same time, we have gone to different seminars. The Ministry of Education, different sub-counties and also the counties, they have organized different seminars. So most of the teachers have been able to attend to all this, at least to understand the basic requirements for CBC. Therefore, even as the children are coming, and also, for example, myself, I went in a technical secondary school, so that there are those technical courses that which I did, or subjects that which I did in secondary school.
Right.
Therefore, and when I completed, for example, Form 4, I found so many people did not have jobs. And you realize myself, even without possibly, first of all, going to the university, I first of all worked, you know, and therefore, now immediately thereafter, now I happened to go to the university. So that now, from what I look at, the eyes at which I see CBC with, to me, I am very much grateful, and I am very happy that our children will start discovering themselves very early because of the practical subject at which they are doing. When somebody is doing, even when somebody is doing things with the hands and like everything is operating,
Right.
a child will not doze. The way, for example, a teacher stands in front, lecture, and immediately go. But this particular one, most of the subjects, children are doing together with the teachers, such that now, and you are using your hands, you are using your brain so much, such that now, when you are thinking, you realize there is that digging of potential that which even, like you are not digging during the time the teacher was lecturing in front.
Yes.
So this involvement of the teacher, the parent, and also the child, you realize it's very, very beautiful. Such that now, children, once they discover themselves early enough, their dream will already be in their mind. So that by the time they are waking up in the morning, they already know the assignment that which the teachers have given. They must have completed it, and by that time they are already capable of knowing what they want to pursue at the university. They are able to see the future when they are so during their early years in life. And therefore CBC may even help the students not to be indisciplined. Why? Because their mind is so involving, and their mind is so involved in the activities that are happening for different subjects, so that now when they're introduced into those actually, that is basics of electrical. I'm talking about junior secondary, electrical, basics of plumbing, basics of masonry, basics of French, basics of music. You realize all that together, they will be able to tell what to pursue at the university. Right. And they will also already be in a position to know the beauty of that future. And they will not be caught up in any indiscipline. You realize they might be very disciplined depending on the, on the format of a school and how committed the teachers are. Yes.
All right, but we can say definitely for sure CBC will help a student make a career choice earlier on.
Earlier, exactly. The discovery will come up so early. Can I tell you, even before they get to high school, because of the involvement of the parent, and even the parent is learning like the child, such that even the parent who didn't know much has already learned. Like now this parent who is seated here, now she already know more than she did in school. So by the time now they go to junior secondary 3 years, then they go to senior secondary 3 years. Now, parents will already be graduates. They'll be graduating with the children. Yes, exactly. And they will have the relevant questions to ask their children. They already assist their children on the careers to pursue at the university. And irrelevant to the children, depending on the strengths that which the child is showing when they are doing all these experiments or all these activities. Exactly.
And Martha said that it helps with bonding between the parent and the child.
That is it.
We'll come to you to hear more about that. Susan, I see you agreeing strongly on the career. It will help them get to make a decision earlier. Of course, comment on that as well as tell us how you're preparing to handle as well as the junior secondary school.
So thank you very much. As a school, we have decided, or we decided, to ensure that we come up with a junior secondary school, or to have a junior secondary school in our institution. Already we have a primary school, but then we felt that these children needed to continue because they are very young in age. So we felt it is important to come up with a junior secondary school so that they will just have a smooth transition from the primary section to the secondary section. So in fact, we had to do new blocks because we were not ready. We didn't have more space. And you see, the ministry gave us a checklist which they expected us to meet so that we can have a junior secondary school. So we had to do extra classes. We have to have extra rooms. We need workshop rooms. We need science laboratories. So it has been a task, I must say. But we are prepared to have those children coming in to our school, or to primary school, most primary schools actually in private schools, to come in the junior secondary school.
Yes.
Thank you.
You say you're well equipped.
Yes, we are, and ready actually. I'm sure many parents are very afraid of allowing their children to go to public secondary schools. You can imagine a 12-year-old boy or girl going to meet with boys in who are about 18 years. Actually, many parents are very apprehensive about it, and they feel they still need to have their children around them. And again, you realize that most of the secondary schools are boarding schools, which in fact, like I would say, if in Kajiado County, we have very few schools, both county and sub-county schools, we have very few schools. So parents are worried of where they would take their children if we don't come up with such a structure or such a plan. So every primary school is trying hard to ensure they establish junior high schools so that the children, because they are very young, they smoothly transit to those junior secondary schools.
All right.
Yes.
Martha, we come to you. Of course, just as mentioned, as the kid learns, you also learn as a parent because they come to you to assist them with their assignments and all. Tell us how the experience has been. Did you find it challenging in the beginning?
Thank you very much. As a parent, there are some challenges you meet because like this CBC, mostly it's skills. It's something you have to go. It's not the system we were used to, the syllabus. So you find a lot of time, mostly it's something you'll do outdoors. And then their studies is too different. You have to, the way you used to learn in our era, it's too different with the way the kids are. Because you have to be there. You have to avail yourself to know this kid, whether she's catching. You have to, if it is materials, you have to look for money. You have to be, that bond, you have to be always there. If not, so you have to look for someone else who will do your part, you will play your part.
So as a parent, at least it helps you be more involved in what the child is doing. Your kid, when did they start the CBC? Well doing grade?
Grade 3.
Grade 3.
Yeah.
To
grade 4. No, it's grade 4. She started at grade
4.
Yeah.
And now she's in grade 6. So far, the experience, how can you say it has been?
I would say it's so far so good. I can't lack disadvantage and advantage. On my side, I can say as a parent, the advantage is one thing you'll find the kid, you're able to be specific, the subject that she's good at. You can be able to specify and say she's good at music, she's good at arts, she's good at mathematics. You'll be able at this young age to nurture that thing and it grow to something good.
All right.
Secondly, also they are becoming more mature early. Because you can find a class 6 girl, the things we used to know when we were in class 8, already she knows everything.
Yeah.
It's true, she knows. So the teachers are so involving. The teachers have turned to be like parents. You'll find even most of the time, the teachers are playing our part as parents. And as parents outside here, some of us are confused about the syllabus. You can hear someone saying, this syllabus is not good, it's not fitting. I'm worried whether I'll release my kid to go and join the junior
secondary.
Yeah, you don't know whether she will fit in that class. Even about the boys, you know, you don't know whether they will go that circumcision stage.
Okay.
Some girls, when they're in class 6, already they have matured. They have gone to puberty.
Yes.
Others have not. So you're still worried. It's good, but you have that fear in you.
Yeah.
You don't know what will happen.
And I think that's normal as a parent. Of course,
Yeah.
you have to be concerned about your child.
Yeah.
But one thing like that is of common is that, you know, you are able to tell earlier what their interest is, what their stronghold is as well. And I think that's a very good thing if you look at it that way.
Honestly, there has always been resistance in
Yeah.
any change. But you realize that we cannot stay in one thing all the time.
Yes.
There must be a change because of the change of the world.
Yes.
Like now when we were in school, there was no technology. Today,
Right.
technology is, you know, like everybody has to know how to operate a computer so that even those children, such that now we have no option. Whether it is difficult or simple, we must engage ourselves into it. We must force our attitude to be positive. We must agree with whatever is happening. At the same time, we can see the beauty, you know, especially when a child is able to know himself. Like she has spoken it quite well.
Yes.
And she has said that a child is growing so fast, unlike ourselves, that possibly were maturing when we were doing CPE. Like now, these ones are 844. Myself, I am CPE. You know, you are also 844. Yeah, 7, 4, 2, 3. You know, so that here we are 3 generations. So this one is very good. Now you can imagine if myself, who has not, okay, I not done 844, I've done now the very first one. I am embracing it. How much more are this expected to embrace? But you know, I have no option because I am running schools.
Yes.
And for your information, in fact, I have gone back to school to become relevant. You know, and therefore now, today I can be able to tell exactly what 844 is, so that now I become relevant. When I'm speaking to the teachers, when I'm speaking to the children, at least I am not speaking things that are not there.
Right.
And therefore now, myself, especially in the way I have been speaking, because I normally speak to teachers, principals of different schools, when gathered together, like this morning I was speaking to 26 head teachers, you know, of Kabete primary schools. Such that now, for me to become such relevant, I must go back to school to understand now the 844 and also to understand the CBC. Right now, everything is on my fingertips. You know, there's nothing I'm looking for. I already got it.
Yes.
But CBC, I can assure you, is the best amongst all of them because of the involvement of the children. And can I tell you, it's only that it is a lot of work. People may get so tired. But I can assure you, it is the most enjoyable.
All right.
I cannot wait to teach a child about like electrical, plumbing. Okay, I have ever ran a vocational center, but like the imagination within me of how now the junior secondary school will be, I cannot wait to teach a boy now the today children of 844 from 1 from 2, they say, I want to become you know, an engineer. I want to become, but they're not able to specify civil engineering, software engineering, all that. But by the time now they are learning, they will be able to seek the pathway immediately. So they'll be in a position when they are going to the senior secondary, they already decided that, not in junior, but in primary school. The way she's talking about the projects, you know, they are, but for class 4, 5, 6, they are doing projects. You can imagine they discovered themselves in primary school. When they are coming to secondary school, to junior secondary, they already know what they are supposed to do.
All right.
So it's so beautiful. We are really admiring it before we have had it.
Okay,
Yes.
we take a break right there.
Yes.
Definitely do keep interacting with us on our socials, CAC TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. Drop those questions and comments and we'll be looking at them. But right now we take a very short break. Keep it right here. We'll be back in a few.
Pay for your tithes and offerings, PAP, using Family Bank's USSD solution for church collection, Kanisa PAP. All you have to do is register and pay. To register, dial code *325 *5#. Accept the terms and conditions. Enter your first and second name. Then your church's 4-digit code and church name. Confirm your registration and you're ready to contribute. To contribute, dial *325 *5#. Select your type of offering. Enter the amount you want to contribute. Once done, confirm the amount. You'll get an M-Pesa PIN prompt. Enter your PIN and you're done. You will receive an SMS confirmation from Family Bank. Isn't that easy? Try Kanisa PAP today.
Communion with a difference. It's easy to set up, no worry of spills, contamination or waste. Prepared with very high hygienic standards and strict quality dedicated equipment. You are rest assured that pre-filled Holy Communion elements are completely protected. We deal with pre-filled communion elements for churches in Kenya and East Africa like the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, CITAM, among many others. The advantages of the pre-filled elements are cost-effective, convenient, portable and ideal for use in virtually any environment, less preparation work, completely hygienic, and we have both altar wine and altar juice. Order now by calling us or sending us a WhatsApp message on 07999 88371. Visit our website www.holycommunionelements.com. All right, welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it right here. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, CAC TV Kenya. So drop us your comments and feedback and we'll be looking at them, of course, as we continue with this discussion. With me is Joyce Mugambi, the Director, Steph Joy Schools, Susan Wanjiru, the Head Teacher, PCA Ngaterunga Education Center, and Martha Wambui, who's representing all the parents with children in the CBC system. So when we're talking about the CBC system, of course, we've had petitions in court to stop the implementation of the CBC system. I think I'd like to hear your views on that. So far, none has, of course, I'd say, seen the day, because we're still here. CBC is still ongoing. But of course, there has been different organizations who've raised questions on the challenges and weaknesses of CBC, and they said no, we'd rather still remain with 844. Of course, raised question as well on how it's being implemented and how sustainable it is, because if the next regime takes over, how sure are we that they won't revert back to 844? Susan, as a head teacher, of course, you can speak on the challenges that are there when it came to implementation as well, equipping your teachers, and looking at CBC, any challenges you're experiencing?
Now, initially when CBC came on board, there were a myriad of challenges that we experienced. Number one, the aspect of reception. Many people did not receive it well because they felt that this was a system that was coming in and it was going to be very, very expensive, which is actually an issue that even still today, parents feel that the CBC is very expensive and it's for the rich. That is what most of the parents think. That this system is for those that are able to purchase whatever materials, those that are coming from private schools, because that is where most of these things are done in the right way. So when the implementation of CBC came on board, actually it was met with great resistance from both the teachers, the parents, the children were in the mix, because they couldn't understand why their teachers think that this system is not good. Neither could they understand why their parents feel this system is not good. But as we talk today, despite the many challenges, we have tried to overcome them as time has come by. Especially when it comes to purchase of materials, you will realize that when an assessment is sent to us through the NET portal, the ministry always provides for a situation where we can improvise some of the materials. Although some are not possible to improvise, but at least there is that provision where children can use the locally available materials. And again today as we talk, when we come to the issue of technology, most of the institutions now are able to actually to have electricity. They have electricity, they have computers. So at least children are able to check out on things from the internet depending on what the assessment is about. So we can say at least things are working out despite the many challenges. And especially when it comes to time. Parents most of the times do not have the time to work out these assessments with their children. I can assure you, because of the economic times that we are living in, many parents are out looking for money. They are out in jobs, they come very late. And especially if you look at the big cities, many parents will spend a lot of time in the buses, in the traffic jam. So they don't have time to do these things with their children when they come from school. You can imagine coming from school and then you realize that the assessment the child was given required you to go out and look for some plants. So what do you do at that time? So it has become very challenging for some parents, but with time they have grown to accept it. Because for sure, since it was implemented, they have realized that despite the challenges, it's a good system. Because it creates an element where children are able to learn on their own, they're able to discuss, they're able to manipulate materials, and actually they are different. If you compare a child who is in the CBC system in grade 6 and a child in class 8 in the 844 system, those are two different children. Children in CBC are very strong. They have strong personalities. They are very confident, very good oratory skills, confident children who can actually challenge situations when you bring them on the table. So I can assure you, when you compare 844 and CBC, children in the 844 system cannot be the same with the children who are in CBC. Children who are in CBC will actually come out to be very strong, because at even a lower, at one level, in grade 3, 4, 5, 6, they're already telling you what they feel they are interested in. We call them competencies. So they're already identifying their competencies. Like when you see these projects they are doing, you will see their children who are really interested in sports. You will see those that are interested in home science. Others are interested when it comes to agriculture. So those are the competencies that the CBC tries to identify and elevate in a child, so that they pick that pathway once they transit to junior high school and senior high school. So those challenges are there, I must say that. But again, CBC is doing very well. Yes, so I just want to urge the parents, all stakeholders, to embrace it. Despite the challenges, things will be able to work out.
All right. And you've mentioned that there's the provision of you improvising, because of course we've seen ridiculous assignments shared on social media, parents wondering and saying that not everyone is able to afford that because we have different social classes. But you've said that there's a provision of improvising with what is locally available, ensuring that no one is left out. There's a comment coming in, and I think it's really important for us to look at. Shiv Diana says, this thing should be banned and done away with. It's draining parents financially, mentally, and physically. Like, now I'm done with it. I'm tired. I think we'll start with you, Martha, as a parent. You're talking about CBC with a smile on your face. Of course, you're talking about the good things and things you're noticing in your child. But here's a parent who says they're just done with it. You know, what would you tell them?
Thank you very much. As a parent, you know, it's tough. Everyone is facing difficulties right now. But you have to embrace it. You have to embrace whatever. It's good even you keep on learning something new. It's something new we are learning as parents, as kids. it's something you have to embrace it together as a family. Truthful, it's costly. Because you have to dig up more. And you know, maybe a parent, there are some parents who don't have jobs.
Right.
And that student will come in the evening, tells you she has a lot of homework. Some you have to dig out to go to the cyber to be printed. Others, they don't know even how to improvise those things that you are. It's not, mostly the people who improvise, it's the people at public schools. But the private school, mostly parents have the mentality, you have to take something decent.
All right.
You have to present something decent. So I think I wish the teachers could even involve the parents and they be lenient to the parents. It's not a must bring those presentable things. Teach, you have to speak to the parents too.
Right.
You tell them, if you don't have this, you can go to and improvise something you have in the house. Secondly, mostly people who have, parents who have challenges, it's private schools. Because, you know, the intervals we are breaking, you'll have to dig up more in terms of school fees. Then there is this for petty things for printing, buying snacks.
Yes.
And maybe your budget as a hustler, let me use that word.
Yes.
As a hustler, maybe you had a specific budget. Now you have to double. If you have 3 kids, there's nobody who will come from outside and help you. You have to double.
Yes.
You do the effort. Mostly you find people are complaining. You're wondering, is it food you are going to buy? Is it the homework you are going to help your kids with? But at the end of it all, as a parent, I would request each parent, let's look at it with a positive outcome.
Okay.
Because at the end of it all, it is our kids. And we'll benefit from it. Right now we may be straining, but at the end of it all, we'll reap that happy thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thirdly, it's still also time consuming. In the sense that, like the subjects they are doing, you'll find there are a lot of subjects. Not like the ones we did at 844. And you have to be sharp. Right now, you are also turning to be a student.
Yes.
And the funny things, the things they are being taught, hey, you will wonder, did I hear this? Did I learn this at school? So you have to be sharp too. You have to be, your time, you have to avail yourself always. The other thing that may make parents to be confused is about the exams. You see, like from PP1 up to PP2, they learned it for 4 system. All of a sudden in grade 3 up to grade 6 hapa, wakaleta here.
CBC.
Yeah, and the exams, they introduced open something. Yenye you can give a kid an open question, yenye atakuja.
No multiple choice.
Yeah, no multiple choices.
Okay.
All of a sudden, they are going to sit for exams.
In class 3.
In class 6, grade 6.
Okay, grade 6.
Then you're wondering, they started with 844. They came to CBC, these open-minded your questions.
Yeah.
Then now, we are being told they will do multiple questions. Now, as parents, we are being confused. How will this child from open shading here, the question they used to give, then they have turned it now at the end of it all, it is multiple choices.
Yes.
So it will be that time frame
Okay.
for the kid to catch. It's too tricky.
Right.
So you have to be there. You have to be, as a parent, you have to involve, even interact with their teachers a lot such a time.
Okay.
Let me help you in that.
Yes.
Now, I know every parent has such questions and such anxieties, but let me help you through this. When the children got into PP1 and PP2, this is what we call reading readiness or readiness for learning. So basically what is taught here is to sensitize the learner to be able to read. and just to introduce the learner to a school situation. But now when they got to grade 1, this is where CBC was now introduced. When you talk about your child who is in grade 6, and when CBC was introduced at this point, we already knew, or we were told, that these children are to sit school-based assessments where they will do questions without multiple choices. And this just helps the child to be able to reciprocate or reproduce what they have understood in their own way, in their own language. So actually, it was very good for the children because it helps them to avoid rote learning, where children have to cram. So when a child reads and understands, they are able to do it when it comes to an assessment, the school-based assessments. Number 2, you realize that we have the school-based assessments in grade 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, the government is picking up 20% in grade 4, 20% in grade 5, 20% in grade 6, and which is going to be 60%. And then the final assessment will pick 40%. So already these children have been assessed from grade 4. They already have 20%. In grade 5, they already have their 20%. Grade 6, right now they are doing projects and they will do another one on 29. They will pick another 20%. So the final one at the end will only capture 40%. And the reason why they are bringing in the objective questions again, I'm sure it's because they want to ease in the work of human resource for marking. Because it's not also easy to identify which answer is correct when it's an open-ended question. So I want to assure every parent that the process is very accommodative, because the 20% is where now the children did their projects, they were able to do certain assignments, their portfolios. That is also projected in such a way. So every parent thinking that this final exam is a matter of life and death has lost it, because already the child picked their 20% in the earlier levels. So you have no reason to worry as a parent. I want to assure you, you have no reason to worry.
I think it's also important that we understand that this assessment are also keeping the children on top. So they do not want to fail. And we are talking about every year. So every student would like to become successful in that every year. So that now, whatever the teacher is teaching, a child will be very focused, and she wouldn't like, or he wouldn't like, to miss anything, because we are talking about assessment every year. And those marks being accounted for in this now class 6, and class 6 also determining how they are going to now join the junior secondary, or possibly class 7 or grade 7. Therefore the child now will be very focused, and can I tell you also, their performance will be very good because they will be fully focused. It is not like now the 844 whereby they were reading 8 good years. They were examined only one exam, such that now, being one exam, a child can get lost in class 4, can get lost in class 5, class 6, class even 7, possibly one may be performing very poorly. At the same time, coming to right now, once again, A, B, C, D, and all that, you realize that now that assessment has come in every year. So a child would be in a position now to have so much knowledge by the time now one is getting to class 6. And this is the reason she's talking about a child being so confident, a child being very strong, about a child being in a position to even start before people and speak who are in class 6, something that you wouldn't have seen in 844. And at the same time, still, let me encourage that parent who has said that she's fed up. Let me say that even when it came from our system to the current system, there was still such a strong resistance. The people did not want to move from that to the other. But right now, they also don't want to move from that one which they were resisting to this other one which they are resisting. So that also it is also very important for people to understand that even CBC may not be there for life. Possibly another one will come, people will resist, they still want this one which they did not want. Therefore, we can never dare to give up. We can't. However expensive it is, however time consuming it is, time is required for us to add value to ourselves. And therefore, however it is time consuming, that time is there to be consumed that way. For it to be to be of value to a child, and also even to a parent as well. Exactly.
Okay, I like that, you've experienced both all systems.
All systems,
You're saying that there was still resistance even when we were being introduced to
844,
because it was a new thing.
For
then.
your information, there was such a strong resistance. Yes, I am among them that did the last, those last ones for CP and KCE, KCE before it became KCSE. Therefore, there was such kind of a strong resistance.
All right.
And today, I am the one embracing the CBC. Yeah.
Right. We've talked about students under the CBC system, being more aware earlier, of course, maturing earlier, of course, noticing their interest at an early stage compared to 844. And then, of course, we see that in senior school, students have to start specializing based on their interest in career choices, whether arts and sports sciences, social sciences, or the STEM, technology, engineering, and all that. And here comes a question, are they not too young for that at that stage? What's your take on that? Because we see young students probably, of course, when I was young, I wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor, and then came so many other career changes until probably later on I decided, okay, let me do journalism. I think this is it for me. So here it is at senior high school, we're telling them, make a career choice, pick an area, and then that's it. Of course, I'd like to hear from you, educationist, and then we'll come to you. As a parent, is that a concern you have as well? Who'd like to take it first? Susan, I see you.
Okay. At the junior high school, that is grade 7, 8, and 9, we have pre-technical. So when you talk about pre-technical, this is where they are just going to start off on introduction. Already, as we take these children to junior high school, there are things that we have already started or we have already introduced them to. So as much as we may feel that these things are of a higher level, we are just going to do the basics, the very, very least basics. So I'm sure as they progress on to grade 8 and 9, at least they will have the basics to help them now choose the pathway. Remember, when it comes to junior high school, we have compulsory subjects, 14 compulsory learning areas, and then now they have 4 optional areas where they can choose, maybe let's say foreign languages, they can do computer science, Kenya Sign Language, or home science and so forth, German, French, or Mandarin and all that. So you see, when this child is transiting to junior high school, when they start off in those learning areas, it will be basically the very least of what they can understand. So you don't need to be very worried thinking that these children are going to be subjected to very tough knowledge, tough environment. They are ready. I can assure you they are ready, because these children, whatever we are teaching them in grade 6, for instance, is what they used to learn in 844 in class 8 and 7.
Okay.
I would give you a very simple example. We used to do things to do with the heart in class 7. Today we are doing it in grade 6. So you see, those children are well equipped. They have the skills, they have the knowledge. They are able to transit very well when it comes to those pre-technical courses in junior high school. Yes.
And when we're talking now about, of course, transitioning to senior high school, grade 10, 11, 12, I believe, where now they have to select a specific area to specialize in, and that's it. You know, when you pick STEM, it's STEM.
Yes.
You don't go back to social sciences later on. Now the question here arising is this too early for that?
I don't think it will be early, because now by the time they are getting to grade 9, we have said they are doing compulsory learning areas. So here their competences will be very evident. They will have come out very well. So a child now is able to say, I think I love drawing, and this is the pathway that I'm going to pick. I think this child is very well gifted in sports, and they can pick up that pathway. So whatever is going on in the CBC, and especially in junior high school, is practice, is involving, is practical, more than even in the primary section. When you talk about cooking in junior high school, the child will be exposed, get to a kitchen, literally do it. If the child is to get into a science lab, they are supposed to handle those chemicals and literally do it, as opposed as to asking a teacher to demonstrate. So these children will be doing themselves those things. So by the time they get to senior high school, they'll actually be able to identify their competencies and run with them.
Clear and conscious.
Let me say that there's an area that which I think we might, because we are all going through a certain experience that which possibly none of us has ever been. And you realize also, but like now the 844 the people went on implementing, correcting, and doing all that.
Okay.
We now in senior we have 3 pathways. One is for STEM, the other one is for arts, the other one is for sports. Now, when you look at sports are talent. A talent is not a career. So there's an area I differ strongly with it, because you cannot tell there's how can sports be examined at the university? How long can a child get supported with the sports? When somebody gets to age 40, there's an 18-year-old who has come up as a champion. So that area, as we grow, is that area as we now get to joining just to senior. I am sure possibly people will look into it, and especially possibly parents may question, teachers may question, because you need, according to my understanding, is that, for example, if a child is gifted in music, music is a talent. We have, every child has both a talent and a career. Somebody can grow very well in a talent and a career, because it demands you to be in class to learn and understand and grow in knowledge. You realize that career manages the talent. Again, a talent may also support a career. Like now, the way I speak, this is a talent. But I must be having a career which is supported or complemented by my talent. So when we talk about a child doing only a talent in senior high school, we are confusing. Otherwise, STEM, for your information, is the one at the moment and is the real thing at the moment. But whoever is doing STEM, can I tell you, one can never be able to drop football. If one is interested in football, one can never drop at all music. If one is interested in music, you can never drop a talent. A talent runs after you, but a career disappears because it requires a lot of hard work and a lot of effort. Can I also say, so many children will get lost in that pathway. Why? Because so many children, like the way so many parents have pampered children, they don't want to work. In their laziness, they will say, I want to pursue sports. In their laziness, they want to pursue a certain talent, so that at the end of it, for a parent now to come and discover, oh, my child is lost, it will be too late. So I am thinking, when we get there, at least all of us shall implement that and shall correct that one. Exactly.
So that's the area you say that needs to be looked into.
Yeah, that one need to be looked into. I have already spoken to somebody, and I'm trusting God, and I made sense to him, and I'm trusting God that they will look into it before now children get there, because I don't think as a teacher I would love us to make any mistake when I know something that and surely you can hear I am making sense, don't you think so? Yes. There's where is a degree for sports? Where is a degree? There's degree for music, it is very true, but like where is a degree for other talents? Where is a degree for motivational speaking? Where is a degree? Yeah.
All right, Martha, I was thinking you agreeing so much with what Joyce was saying. When it comes to senior high school, what would be your concern? Probably as a parent, have you foreseen that far?
It's the environment. We don't, they are moving from our hands now when they are very young. They haven't matured. One thing, it's the environment. We need assurance as parents. Secondly, we are confused. We don't know whether they are the same teachers or different teachers, new teachers. You see, the ones already at the secondary school, they know about 844 system a lot. We don't know whether they will bring new teachers. Thirdly, they need to do a lot of psychology. They need to be bringing often to be talking to these kids. Because already the ones who are already at secondary, they know a lot. So they may go, they merge with them, they change behaviors. They come home when they are different kids. So I think they have to look about environment. They be doing psychology to these kids, a lot talk. Thirdly, we need to know the assurance for parents that we are releasing our kids to go to high school. They won't be in our hands. What will be next? Will they be at safe hands? Will they find a good teacher who will understand them?
Right.
We have a lot of worry. That also, we are worrying about the cost.
Okay.
You don't know whether it will be costly. You don't know whether it will be too costly. Those are the major
So
things.
there's a lot of uncertainty when it
Yeah.
comes to, you know, the finance of it,
Yeah.
the finance part.
I think it is important I make parents understand that even as we take these children to junior secondary school in a secondary school, we are facing out the other system.
Yes.
We are facing it out. They will be together for a short time. Of course, there will be years that they will be with the rest, but kindly understand that these ones are going, and they will, now that system will go, and they will no longer have the 844 again, and that will be all. Yeah.
Okay.
And that transition, we must accept it at the beginning. It has happened. It is
So it is
mother.
a must.
It is
It's a must.
mother
It
who
is
has
a
been
must.
affected. It is Susan who has been affected. I have not been affected because my last born is at the university. But like now, others are already in class 6. But for them that are in class 1, for example, for the parents that are in class 1, they will not meet with those see the high school 844 anywhere. So there is nothing that the government can do. There is nothing that the school can do. You have just to know the school you are taking your child to, just trust them and believe God that they will be taken care of.
It's
Yes,
definitely
believe
as
God.
pioneers.
Yes.
You have to have those fear.
Yes, exactly.
And those
Very
questions.
well
Yeah.
understood.
So it's good. They also introduce, mostly they talk to parents often. And to kids, if you assure us, we'll be comfortable.
Okay.
I can also assure you that you are not a parent, you are not the only parent who is going through the same challenges. So if at all a whole class of around 30, 40 children are going to transit to the junior high school, yours will just be one amongst the 40.
Among
them.
So these
Exactly.
children will be able to help each other through the system.
Yeah.
And also, parents have been given a variety of choices to make. You have been told to do your selection of schools, but again, we are saying that there are private schools that are building up their junior high schools there. So as a parent, you have a choice to make. If you feel your child is still very young, you can find a school that is doing junior high school that already has a primary. So that will help your child to fit in within still the age levels of the rest who are in primary school. But it is very important for you to know that this transition has very many challenges, but we'll go through them. At some point, we'll be able to go through them
I
successfully.
can speak as a parent, even on behalf of the kids.
Yes.
As parents, we may be scared, but the kids are too excited.
Okay.
Yes.
The kids are very excited, very. And most of them, they want to join boarding school. They are very excited.
Okay.
Can I tell you something? Because I was about to say whatever you have said.
Yeah, they're
because
very.
this morning by 7 o'clock, I was studying in a school where they had invited me to speak to both parents and children that in class 6, and I was now trying to assist them on how to transit now to junior secondary school, and I was speaking to them about the reason we go to school, because I want them to be bold enough to understand that even as we transit to secondary school, they need not to worry. Why do we go to school? Okay, I spoke to them for like 45 minutes. Can I tell you, by the time I was leaving, all the children were with their parents. I want to go to that school. I want to go to that school. In this case, children themselves are so bold to go there. You as a parent, excuse me, release your children. You take care of them.
All right, let's have a look at some of the feedback coming in. At Ndirangu Mary says, I like the conversation. A teacher here from PCA Ongata Rongai Education Center. Harrison as well, who's saying, let the parent representative tell us of the cost burden to an ordinary parent. I think this comment came in earlier because we've talked about that. Now, a question coming in from a parent here who says, CBC is a great idea, but let children be taught how to use current technology, not teaching them how to make a marionette or a scarecrow. You know, let's talk about ridiculous assignments, let me put it that way, which will also join it with the question coming in, who's saying, tell us about the teachers need to go back to school and the new direction that teachers be licensed and keep renewing their education licenses. Is this practical? With the salaries that teachers earn, can they afford to keep going back to school? Also, what is the difference now of ECDE and CBC? Or does my child kick off as CBC from the moment they join school? I think for now, let's have a look at those questions. Susan.
Okay. Maybe I will start with the last one that has come in. Actually, the curriculum designs for the preschool have been made to fit in the CBC system.
Okay.
Actually, they are the very current, we call them curriculum designs from the KICD that should be able to accommodate the CBC at those prime levels. So I've said we call them the reading readiness, where the child is just introduced to understand what goes on around in a learning center. So actually, the current CBC, the current curriculum designs have been made to fit in the CBC. The challenge that we could be facing right now is time. We are supposed to cover a certain curriculum design or syllabus within a very, very short time. So you realize that children are not able to really do all the assignments, those extra assignments that they're supposed to do at home with their parents. And that is the greatest challenge that we are facing right now. You'll find that teachers now are forced to only delve in whatever is required within the class because of the time that is available. It's very limited.
Okay.
But I'm sure if the calendar goes back to its normalcy, that children will be able to do a lot of other assignments, especially these other projects, even for the CBC.
Right.
Like, for instance, in the preschool level, they begin to be taught on their own hygiene, brushing their own teeth. They need to do it practically even in school.
Okay.
They need to take photos and put in their portfolios. They need to collect those materials and put them in their portfolios, and so on and so forth. Then I would also want to talk about the issue of the current technology.
Yes.
I know that is an issue that many parents are facing, and we are also concerned as stakeholders in the same way. Like there's a time we had a project on cleaning the market, and you could see children in sacks, and it was very worrying. We thought that at least they would do it in the modern way, even if parents are not able to afford. But I'm sure a parent can come up with an apron, isn't it? Made from simple material, not a sack for that matter. Or an old dress. Yes. So those are things that we are also still concerned as Joyce said, these are things that need to be reviewed. In every system, there are things that we go through, we pilot it. Actually, the first class is a pilot class, I would say. So as we pilot it, we review it as time goes by. But I'm sure as after a certain period of time, things will be able to be improved on.
Okay.
Again, we still have parents who have not, and teachers who have not embraced technology. However much you want to make people digital, you realize there are those who are shying away from it. She clearly said that parents are told to go to a cyber, maybe to download something.
Yes.
They will take it to somebody because, one, they don't even have the facilities themselves, and neither do they even know how to do it. So we still have a challenge when it comes to technology, but I know as the world is being, growing, things will be able to improve as time goes by.
Maybe briefly touch on the question about teachers need to go back to school. Do they need to go back to school in able to, to understand the whole CBC system?
Yes. Now, we are talking about teachers who have gone through the 844 system. Most of them have gone through the 844 system.
Yes.
And equally, we could still be having those who went through the CP, as she said, isn't it? So it's important that teachers go back to school so that they are taught through this system, so that they are able to teach the children. A facilitator cannot go stand before children to give knowledge, to instruct, without they themselves being trained on how to do it. But I know the concerns that the person asking is raising is where a teacher has to go back. They are calling it teacher professional development, where a teacher has to go and do it every other time for them to retain their licenses.
And
now,
this is they pay for it themselves?
Yes, they pay for it themselves. And I know it's an issue that is still very contentious, and teachers are still complaining about it, and it's something that I may not really be able to give a solution to right now, because it's an issue that is in the Ministry of Education. But as I talk today, teachers are actually innate. They have already enrolled in different institutions. They have started their TPD. They are doing it. I would say it's a good thing.
Okay.
The only challenge and the only issue here is the timeline. Because when you're told you may do it for over 30 years and you may not even complete it by the time you're doing it, that is the challenge. Because you do it and at one point the licenses will be revoked. So only those who have done it are the ones who will be able to continue in their career. But it is good because it's all about reviewing the CBC or teaching the teachers on how to handle CBC. Yes.
Joyce, there's a comment here for you. A lot of praises. It says, I can attest that Steph Joyce Schools under the stewardship of Mrs. Mugambi instills excellent skills to their students. I am certain
so much.
even the CBC implementation under her leadership will be top notch.
Thank you so much.
All right. Let's look at another question coming in. Let's talk about textbooks and curriculum books. They're always very expensive and scarce. Seeing as they are new in every class now, is this going to be the case with junior secondary school? Considering the entry cost and will the activity cost and material be there, won't this be too expensive for parents?
Well, okay, I still want to go back to where we started, that anything, that there's always resistance in change. Even the 844 has so many books, so many books to buy. Otherwise, if we look for the weaknesses, they can be so many. But at the same time, it's always good to check on the advantages and disadvantages. Like now, for example, for you to be very, very accurate in whatever you are doing, or the teacher to tap the potential for each and every child, it is only in a class of 25 children. Such that now, in that class of 25 children, today, we have classes, for example, in public schools of 50, 60, 70, even 100 children. Such that now, all these challenges, at the end of it, they will come to an end. When we talk about now textbooks, we have no option. Like now in junior secondary, talking about 12 subjects. Let me tell you, in 844, even in class Form 1, we have 12 subjects. So a child has all those books. Like now, if, for example, if I can give an example of what we do to simplify things for the parents, which to some extent is not really simplifying, but okay, we buy books. Parents pay a lump sum money and to the school, and then now we buy books from Form 1 to Form 4. So that now we distribute the children so that now the following year parents do not buy textbooks. They are already in the school, having used the kit. Or, for example, if a parent paid when a child was joining of 10,000, so that now next year one will not pay, because now the books that were bought by those parents who are there, the children are using. If, for example, all the schools can manage that, it can be very good. But you realize that if those are now the course books, they are revision books, where a parent will also be required to buy. So, to some extent, education has never been cheap. The reason education has never been cheap is because it also the returns for knowledge are great. So like we have no option. We have to go through fire so that we gain. There has never been no pain. There has always been pain to gain. So like parents, I can just appeal to all of us, even to myself. We go through the fire, but we will see the gain somewhere.
Okay, Martha, I think as a parent to a grade 6 student who is going to join junior high school, of course there's the entry fees, probably buying of materials, new textbooks, if they'll go to a different institution, uniform as well. Talk about this.
Let me say, we have to embrace it. No matter what, we have to embrace it. Because if we keep on refusing it, we don't have a choice. And the way we have come, so far so good. You can't say we have already gone all those steps, then we want all of a sudden to shut it away. We have to embrace it. I think about school fees. Mostly if you talk on the ground, people say even junior high school will be cheaper. For those who are at secondary right now, they say if you compare the amount people pay at these lower classes, it's too high, according to
different parents.
Yeah, different parents. Uniform, it's something you've been always buying. So there's nothing new you are brought at it. You'll be told you have to buy this. It's something we are used to. It's just we have to change our mentality as parents.
Thank you.
That is the only thing we'll do, because we can't keep on fighting it. And you know, the minute to keep on fighting, we are what picture are you creating to your kids? Truly, it's costly.
Yes.
But I can say we have been given, like right now, we are in the process of choosing schools. And if I analyze it, you can hear we have been told to choose 2 national schools. We have been, we have categories.
Yes.
So it's like, according to that sheet, they have given you categories. But the good thing as a parent, aspire for your kid to get a good education.
Exactly.
That is the only thing I would
And can I tell you?
Yes.
If today, for example, we listen to some of the parents and we say, we go back to 844. Can I tell you?
A lot of them. A lot.
Can I tell you?
Would resist.
There'll be war.
Yes, the resistance.
Now, right now, I'm sure 80% of parents are for it. So there'll be war. We've already started it. We cannot look back. We are readily waiting for these children, mother. Parents, we are waiting for these children badly. And especially when we know. Like I have learned so much now from her. You can see she's speaking so boldly. Why? Because she has gone through it like 7 years now. With that experience, I also want to go through the experience, and I would be so hardworking, and I would do everything, anything possible to make sure that I don't fail what she has done. Exactly.
Okay. And actually, it's just an early introduction to Form 1. You know, every parent is always waiting after a class 8 that their children will go to Form 1. It's just that it's an early introduction, I would say, in that quote. So, because parents have had, at least have been sensitized on how long their children were to take in grade 6, in primary section, I would appeal to all parents to begin to prepare. The sincerity of this matter is that it's not going to be cheap, because the child has to transit. And with this transition, there comes new things, including a new school, new uniform, new teachers. You are worried about whether they are going to be new teachers. There could be new teachers, or if primary schools have teachers who are qualified, then they will come in to teach their junior high school. Because we have teachers who are teaching in the primary schools who are qualified to teach junior high school. So I just want to appeal to parents that we are going to do it systematically, and they'll be able to get their children to junior high school in a smooth manner.
All right, and I think I like the comment from Martha. Let's have a positive mindset to this, because of course when we look at it from that way, we see uniform you always buy uniform, whether a kid is transferring or not. Textbook, you buy textbooks, even with the 844 system. So it's all about having a positive mindset to it. And speaking about that, here's a comment I believe from a parent as well, who says, Elijah here, CBC should be banned and banned again, and those who have been bulldozing it arrested. A system that is being implemented with the adequate infrastructure is only wasteful. Speaking about his infrastructure, Susan, I'd like to come to you, because here a parent is saying that this is being implemented without adequate infrastructure. Of course, you've told us how at PCA Ongata School you have well prepared for this, and of course to you as well. So indeed we cannot say that it's being implemented carelessly.
Okay, I would say that the government is doing everything possible to make these things possible, to ensure that the transition goes on. And I'm sure those parents who are saying that is because they have their own fears, they have their own experiences, and we come from diverse places in this country. So there are places where those junior high schools could be coming up, could be being done, but then there could also be those that have no plans at all. So I would say yes, to some extent, we don't have enough facilities, especially if you see, let's say, a public school only has a class or so, or 2. Yet the students in the primary public school are about, let's say, even 300 in grade 6 currently. And they're expected to go to the nearest public secondary school to join junior high school. So from that perspective, the parent will see definitely the facilities are not enough.
Yes.
We could be in such a situation. It is very, very true. And therefore, that is why many private schools are being encouraged to come up with infrastructure to accommodate that situation, because there will be a crisis at some point if private schools don't do anything about it. So I agree with the parent, especially if the parent is looking at a public school nearby or does not see any private school that is suitable for him or for their children, that they can take them to.
Okay.
Yes.
Joyce, on your end, of course, you mentioned earlier that you are as well prepared for the junior high school.
Yes, ourselves, we are very much prepared. But still, I would like to say that surely those fears must be there. And at the beginning, you cannot stop it. It's so human, and it's there are some people that have already been able to overcome the fears, and you cannot force somebody not to fear, because we are talking about a life, and a life that is very, very important. And when a parent is aware that possibly they could be having a child in Form 1, and in the Form 1, the whole class has 500 children. In the particular class, the room that which the child is in, there are 50, 60, or even 70. Now, possibly they are asking themselves, if, for example, the requirement is only 25 per class, that particular school that my daughter is in, how are they going to now admit 500? And then in the year 2022, they didn't have a room. That's the reason they were put together, even about 100. How will they be able to put in one room only 25 children? So when a parent is talking about that we do not have enough infrastructure, it is very true. But on the other hand, when you have listened to the CS, he has spoken so many times to private schools, so that at least we may help accommodate the children that possibly may not be accommodated in public institutions. Otherwise, as we proceed, we are going to, I know we shall overcome all the fears, we shall overcome all the challenges that which we are going through.
All right.
Yes.
As we wrap up, I think there's a very key thing I'd like us to touch on, but since time is not on side, I'd like Martha as a parent to talk about this. Maybe we could hear from you as well, but very briefly about religious education activities. We've had instances where different groups are proposing that they should be scrapped off and replaced with philosophy and ethics, or rather others as well call it religion, belief and values, which will look at the history of African traditional religion other than Christianity, Islam and Hindu. So we add, of course, spiritualism, humanism, atheism as well. This is a suggestion from the different groups who are saying, why do we have religious studies? Kenya consists of a lot of religions other than only these three. Martha, probably as a parent speaking of religious studies, would you say this has any impact on children?
According to my views, I think they're always given an open thing, because you can see they're told if it is something about, we can see from even social media, we will see children practicing to be preachers. It's an open mind. They are given an open ground. They are not specifically told you have to stick to Christianity. To me, I embrace it because I see they have given an open ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So for you, you find a problem with that?
No, I don't find any problem.
Okay. As an educationist, what's your take on this? A scrap of religious studies, or would say it is of value in our institution? Susan, then we'll come to you, Joyce.
Okay. Religious studies are actually of a great value in every institution. One, it plays a great role in helping children to improve on their morality. And it's also important that children are able to embrace each other's religion. As much as we have Christian religious education, for that matter, maybe Islam religious education, children are able to value or to have the value of morality, desiring to be able to accommodate each other, because actually religious education is very wide. It also touches on traditions, the way people believed in the traditional society.
Okay.
It also makes comparison with the contemporary society. It also talks about, if it's Christianity, for instance, it will talk about many values, good values, life skills within the same learning area. So I think, in my opinion, it is important to embrace it. What it should do is to bring in more that will accommodate a larger group.
Okay.
So that when we are talking about life skills, we have it in the Christian religious education. We bring in the traditional part of it in comparison to the contemporary society. This helps children to create a balance or to compare and make their own personal choices as time goes by. So Christian religious education or religious education plays a great value in helping children to work on their morality.
All right, Joyce, very briefly.
Okay, possibly what I can say is that the knowledge of God is the beginning of wisdom. And like Susan has said, is that the word of God is the foundation for every human being. It's, it's not just Christian or CRE that is there. It's also Hinduism is there, Islamic is there. Choose your area. Otherwise, religion is very important. It is the foundation. We respect Islam, we respect Hinduism, we respect. That's the reason the Ministry of Education has put all of them there, not just Christianity. Well, let me say that they are very important. If they are the foundation, then you can never build a tower without a foundation. Yes.
Okay, as we wrap up today's program, first of all, let me say a very big thank you to all of you. It has definitely been a very insightful discussion this evening on the CBC education system. But we can't leave our viewers like that. Martha, speaking on behalf of all the parents, what would be a parting shot?
Let me say thank you very much. I would like to request each and every parent, let's try to work together.
Okay.
Let's try to embrace it. If we can even try even to involve the teachers, the kids. Let's embrace it with a positivity. And I know we shall go far.
Okay, let's embrace it. I think that's very powerful and well put. Susan?
Okay, I would want to echo one quote that is always mentioned, that the train already left the station.
Right.
I just want to encourage the parents that as we move on with the CBC, I know there are many things that they are looking at and they're feeling like this is very draining. But when we look at this curriculum in comparison to 844, I'm sure many parents will say it has made a difference in their children's lives. So we want to encourage them to embrace it. Despite the many challenges, I'm sure at one point we'll be able to overcome them. Every first class actually is used as a litmus paper. Every piloting class must go through the fire for it to come out as refined gold. So we want to encourage the parents to support the system and see how we can manage to bring up our children even to the junior and the senior high school.
All right. Thank you for that, Joyce.
There is one scholar known as Frederick Taylor who did a research from the whole human race, 8 billion people living on Earth. And he came up with a report that out of the 8 billion, only 5% think. 15% think they are thinking, but they are not. 80% they better die than think. I want to tell all parents that CBC is teaching children on how to think. Thinking brings in an idea, and an idea is somebody's wealth. Let's embrace CBC. Let's move on to junior secondary school. God bless you.
All right. Thank you all for tonight and for coming. Of course, Joyce Ndirangu, Susan Wanjiru, and Martha Wambui, I say thank you very much. To everyone who, of course, followed us in this discussion, thank you as well for tuning in, and everyone who kept interacting with us, Shiro Kamau, George Njoroge, as well as there's a comment that has gotten lost right there, but Rachel Mugambi, who says big up mommy, I believe this is your daughter.
Thank you.
Kevin Gitao says great discussion, big up Mrs. Mugambi.
Wow.
Thank you to everyone. I think it has been a great discussion. We have learned a lot, of course, areas where we were grey, didn't know, but to think about. I believe you've had great insights from tonight. My name is Faith Kaulu. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep watching GAC TV, but from me to you right now, do have a good night. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.